Jennifer Declare, the bar exam mentor. What's happening when your bar exam taker just doesn't seem to be engaged? They say they're going to take time to study. You've taken on all the responsibilities in the household. You've maybe even offered to cover some of their bills so that they can be stress-free during this time. You've signed on to their hopes and their dreams, and you really want to see them get far. You want to help them achieve the desires of their hearts. Not necessarily because you stand to gain from your bar taker passing the bar. No, you love them and you want to see them happy. You want to see them achieve. You take great joy and pride, perhaps, in knowing that you are the wind beneath their wings, getting to this end goal. At the very least, you don't want to be the person who got in their way and who is to blame for them failing. But what happens when you've done all you can to support the bar taker and the bar taker doesn't seem to be capitalizing on the sacrifices that you're making to support them? They don't seem to be utilizing their study time efficiently. They are taking calls from dramatic family members and friends who are only going to distract them. They're letting people into their space who are doing the exact opposite of what you're doing, which is supporting them. Maybe they're even distracting themselves, scrolling on social media, shopping on Shan, who knows? But they are not seeming to be as interested or dedicated in themselves passing the bar as you have been in supporting them. What do you do? First, some understanding needs to take place so that you can choose your next steps wisely. I always recommend perhaps putting yourself in their shoes as best as you can. Even if you happen to be an attorney already, or you are a law student, or you're going to be a bar taker, and your spouse, your friend, family member is currently studying for the bar and about to sit for it, you still aren't in the position to know exactly what might be going through their head. I can assure you from years of personally mentoring bar takers themselves, they don't want to be procrastinating. They don't want to appear or be off task. And sometimes even when they appear to be quite studious, they're rereading the same sentence over and over again. Because what's happening is not a lack of desire or discipline. There is something happening in their mind. Basic fear responses are being triggered because of all the thoughts that swirl around passing or failing the bar exam. And all those thoughts and fearful what ifs running on autopilot in the back of their head causes the body to need to check out because you're tired. That adrenaline response, the fight or flight, all those things that are being kicked off can tire the person out. It might look like they've sat around doing nothing all day and they're completely exhausted, or they may be falling asleep when they should be studying. All of these things come from what's happening internally when the bar taker is studying. And that's why we here in the bar mentor world focus on the mental and emotional aspect of bar taking so that you can be more successful having taken care of that side of things. So as a supporter of the partner or the child or the friend who is taking the bar exam, what is it that you can do? Knowing that the thoughts surrounding failing the bar is pretty much what's causing a lot of the procrastination that you see, a lot of the appearing to be off task, appearing to take it lightly. The bar taker themselves may not know that they are afraid of failing the bar exam. What you can do as the family member or spouse is give them reassurances. They may not have even asked you for such reassurances, but at the bottom of all of our hearts, we want to know that whether we achieve something or not, we will still be loved, we will still be accepted, we will still be wanted, we will still be worthwhile. And how can the bar taker in your life know that? Well, if you know their love language and you can demonstrate that to them on a regular basis, that will be helpful. It is also helpful to actually refrain from criticizing them, but you can say things like, hey, I did a lot to make some room for you to be able to study and learn what you need to learn for this bar exam. And it looks like you're a little bit distracted. I'm curious, can you tell me more about this? Now, that's not a blameful thing and is actually asking them to give you some information that you can work with. And again, I stress that the bar taker themselves, unless if they've watched my channel or similar teachings, they probably don't even know that they are battling with internal anxiety, fear of failure, and things like that. And the external appearance of that internal battle is procrastination, distraction, giving up and going to sleep. That's the external apparent like behavior when someone is struggling on the inside when it comes to the bar exam. So you can invite them to tell you more about this. I'm curious what's happening here, right? And when they tell you, again, they may not even realize that it's really stemming down to fear of failure, anxiety, lack of self-confidence, those sorts of things. Knowing that yourself as the person who's supporting the bar taker, I would say to go straight to helping to soothe them, even though that might be the last thing you want to do because you're irritated by their seeming lack of motivation. I won't even try to explain how difficult of a test it is and how much more difficult it becomes if you have a self-doubt or self-confidence issue happening there, or fear of failure, or if your accomplishments equal your self-worth, which is a huge common factor amongst high achieving individuals, the kind of individuals who would go to law school. Their accomplishment often is synonymous with their self-worth, and every thought of possibly failing actually means something about them as a person. So it's important for you, the supporter, to help them to alleviate those fears so that they can focus on the task at hand. They can see the test and the results of the test as separate from who they are and their lovability and their worth. What's also very helpful is if you take on the mind of doing what you can to a certain degree and helping them to build in systems and processes to take care of other things, but not overstretching yourself. Naturally, if you're overstretching yourself, you will know that you can only do it for a limited period of time. And if the bar taker seems to be wasting that time, it's going to cause you frustration and possibly even anger. So I advise you look at what you are doing, what you've taken on, what you've promised to sacrifice while the person is taking the bar exam, and really think deeply about what you actually really need and you're trying to do without during this period of time. So if you are a spouse of a bar taker, for example, and quality time is something huge for you, and you've pretty much decided to just, grit your teeth and bear it while they're studying and unable to give you that quality time, it will make it that much harder for you to support your spouse bar taker. But let's say they believe that they still have to cook, meals every day, take care of children if the children are present, or they still believe that they have to, work 2 jobs or take care of the issues of their dramatic in-laws, your parents, or something like that. Perhaps doing those things for them would free up his or her time so they can give you what's most important to you, which is quality time. So having that conversation of, I will support you as you do this bar thing. This is the one thing that is so important to me and that I need. So tell me what you need from me so that I can still get this thing that I need for the health of our relationship, and you can have all the time and freed up energy you need for studying. And hopefully they can think through and think about what things, if you could take off their plate that's easy for you actually. If you could take those things off their plate, they'd be able to both study and give you the quality time that you need. Adapt that to what your needs are in the relationship, and then have that conversation. This is what I really, really need. And if I can get that, I can support you to the end of time with taking this bar exam. And that's the aim of this talk and this thought process is you need to be ready to support your bar taker to the end of time. Because if they feel like there's a limit on your patience, that adds to their fears. And the fears kick up the fight-flight response, and then you need a break from that. So then you go scrolling through Amazon. So you don't want to add to the problem that you're already seeing, right? So to help them actually helps you. Put yourself in a mental and physical, your circumstances, put yourself in a mental and physical space to be able to support them for as many retakes as they want to have. How would you do that? Think that through. But whatever it takes, build that in so that they know that's one less stress. Now, many parents, spouses, friends, partners of a bar taker would say, no, I don't want them to think that this is something that can go on forever. I know it seems paradoxical, but the minute you alleviate that time pressure from them, they will have less stress and have greater likelihood of studying well and passing the bar exam. You may be frank with what you're doing. I'm doing this so that you can have the breathing room without pressure to be able to go ahead and pass this bar exam. And I'm going to do whatever I can to make it so that, if you don't pass this time, it's okay. You can retake it. Your bar taker may not want to hear you speak like that, but it's important for you to emphasize that you will be there for them and you will love them regardless of whether they pass or fail. This plays into whether they are lovable and worthy of love if they don't accomplish things. If it so happens to fit in the conversation, you may send them over to this channel so that they can see some of the other videos that are here that might help them to start unraveling the mess of emotions and fear thoughts that are keeping them from studying well and passing the bar exam. I hope this was helpful to you. That's all for now. See you next time.